Today is the coloring page related to a flower sometimes called angel tears, sometimes called digitalis. It can be a poisonous plant, but also a very beautiful plant that grows in a very big tree formation. You can find in different locations, and you can actually grow it here in British Columbia too. So this particular form has more of an orangey trend to it, and the leaves are a little bit more olivey on the overall. So I'm going to be using a cadmium orange as my orange. And where the orange you find is more in the petals here. And again, we're working with my coloring pages. And then it starts to, so it's very dark right on the edge, and it starts to taper back as you go back into the flower. And it becomes more yellowish as you go back. Let's just add a little darker orange. And then a little bit more on the seams as well. Seams, well, they're not seams, they're actually the folds of the flower. And I'll show you how the buds are a little bit different. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant. But the little buds don't, or the big, large flowers drop off quite rapidly. So I'm using Winsor Newton paints today. And I could just take a little bit of water and then soften that up if I wanted to. So let's try and darken these a little bit more. I like to carry some of that color just underneath as a shadow. Okay, so here's another one I love right here on the bottom here. So we'll put in some nice color right at the base, and then we'll soften it. We're going to add a little bit of yellow as it comes up. I'll put a little bit in here too. A little bit more color here on the edge. And these are further back, so I'll just put a little bit of color into them. Let's add a bit more color in here. Here as well. Okay, now let's bring in some yellow. This is hansa yellow. I'm just going to pop right in here. Some of it is a bit white, so I want to keep some of that white in there. And then it changes into the greens behind here, but I'm just going to put the yellow in there for now. Now some of these buds are actually more greenish yellow, so I'm just going to pop in some yellow, and then I'll add some green gold into it once I've got that established. Are there any others? Okay. So now where's my green gold? And I'm just going to start it off at the top here and then bring it in a little bit into the swirl. Same here. Just drop it in and then bring it in a bit into the swirl. Bring it in here. Bring it into here. Try to see if there are any other flowers in here. There is another flower right up here. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm just going to paint a nice bluish sky around most of the flower. And we're going to use I think we'll use a cerulean. And we'll just carefully start up here and work our way around. And this time I'm trying to go and feed in a lot of color in between here to get some nice contrast. So I'll take my time to go around and fill in the color. Now I have that bead there, so I'm going to tilt the paper a bit so that I can get that bead of water to continue down, and that'll help me to carry the paint across until I pick up some more paint on my brush, which I need to add some water to my paint here. Let's get some more paint in here. I haven't done a very good job of mixing the color ahead of time because I keep getting a large dark color when I go back to pick it up, and I don't even know if my water's working right here. And blend that a bit more. Okay. Usually I try and mix a large quantity. For some reason it's not there. So let's try and get in here and add a bit of background in there. A little bit more here. Here as well. Try to see where some of these leaves actually go here. It's a tiny leaf there, and then it breaks up into there. Comes out over here. And now let's make sure I've got a lot of paint on my brush, and we'll cover this area now here. And let it just kind of fade away. Keeping it tilted so I can get the best amount of paint going at the right value. There we go. Okay, I'm going to add a bit of water here so that it's going to make it easier for me to keep the paint wet. Okay, I'll just add a little bit more paint. Pigment. Blue is a great complement to orange, and so it helps the flower pop out as well. Okay, and let's see, behind here, I'm trying to see where the leaf is. I know there's a leaf there, I know there's a leaf there, there might be. Let's put the blue in here. And here a bit. And I see I should have put some blue here. You can see that. I'm going to put it back, tilted a bit like that. Okay, so now we've got green, 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 so we're going to need some blue over here in the corner. Just darken that a bit over here. All right. Let's fill up this little line a bit. It's still wet there, so I can just touch it with the tip of the paintbrush. And Get some light into my subject. There we go. And I will put some blue over here. Where else do I need some blue? I'm just going to darken it here a bit. I'm looking here, maybe here a bit. That might be even a flower behind there. But I think I'm going to use just the greens. So now where I do need, now I could put just green in here, but I think I'm going to add some more paint of blue sky here. Okay, that's quite a big puddle of nice paint there, so I can pick it up and move it if I need to. That's quite a bit of paint there too. Pop it in a bit. I think I'll leave the rest green. Okay, so we're going to take my green gold, which I'm adding a bit more water to. Alright, so just to show you, the green gold is a lovely, lovely color. But it's not quite the right color for what the normal color of the branch is. But how we're going to fix that, or the leaf is by adding a little phthalo blue in there. And suddenly it just pops a really great green into the leaf and allows some variation in the color, which is lovely. That's what I want. To give that little bit of light, but also some nice darks. So here we go. We're just going to pop the green golds in there. And while it's still wet, pop the phthalo in. Okay. More green gold around here. Just trying to see where all the leaves are. Pop them all right in here. And now let's get some really dark phthalo in there. And we'll put some shadows in a bit, but we'll just fill it up right now. Okay, oh, in here too. Let's get that in there. All right, let's bring it up so that you can see a little bit better. And I said I would just do it all green. And I'm going to do the vine. I can cover the vine. This vine I'm going to do a little different color here. Some of the stems, they could just be the same color or a little darker. Oops. My sleeve keeps getting caught on the edge of the corrugated plastic that I use. It's a great way to tape down your watercolor paintings, and that way the paper doesn't buckle. A little bit of shadow in there, and especially over here, but that's still too wet. Okay, so let's try popping in a bit of that darker color in here. I want some shadow in here a bit. Looking good. And I'll pop some more green gold to our leaves here. You know what, I'll just use the green gold right in here. I'll darken it with some orange afterwards. Missing anything here? Just maybe a little bit there. Okay, let's add some more phthalo. Wrong way. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take a bit of permanent rose, just a little bit, because I want to pop in just a wee bit more darks here to get some of that color popping on my flower. And I can just soften that up. Let's add some right into here. Really get a nice pop of color and shadow in there. Now we're getting a little bit more depth. Oh, we need to put a little bit in here. And this might just have just a pop a bit of color in there. Okay, the only thing I was going to do is just darken some of these vines. And I can actually do that by going into the orange, because it will darken it up into the leaf, or the vines a little bit. Or I could take the permanent rose too, because that's a neutralizing color. It's against the other color, it will actually neutralize and become a little bit more like a gray, depending. Oh, you're seeing a lot of shadow off my arm. Let's pop a little bit in here. And put a little bit on here. Do we need anything else? We could put a little bit of extra yellow in just a couple of places here. I could pop a bit more. Brighten it up a bit. How about just in here too? I'm going to pop a bit of orange in here, because let's say that other trumpet flower is just hiding behind some of that green. Okay, now let's bring a few little bit pieces of dark. I happen to have a shadow violet, which is kind of brownish. And if I pop that in there, it'll just add a little more of the shadow that I'd like to see showing up in between the petal and the stem, or maybe even just a little bit on my vines here that I had neutralized. A little shadow in there, just to make it pop a little bit more. I could even pop that a little bit in here. Say that this was creating a bit of shadow over there. How about here? Let's pop a little bit here, maybe a bit there. Here again, just underneath where the stem meets up with the beginning of the flower. How about a little bit of shadow in there? Oops. There should be some more shadows underneath here too. That's good. This could be a little more shadowy. Underneath there could have a little bit more shadow as well. And there you have your angel hearts, or angel tears, pardon me. And that's one of my coloring pages. Hope you enjoyed this little demo.